Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to handle the hardest thing about being a therapist, which is when we have to hear really hard, horrific, or traumatic things that our clients have been through. Now, I felt inspired to make this video because I think that there is really no amount of schooling or preparation you can do to be a therapist until you are actually in the field and you're having to sit across from your clients and bear witness to their pain. Now, specifically, I am talking about hearing things that are, of course, traumatic in nature or just triggering to you as a person. So things like sexual abuse, childhood abuse, suicidal thoughts, homicidal thoughts, anything that is traumatic, I guess is the best word for it, in nature can be very hard to hear. And I don't think it's talked about enough that we are doing a really, really hard job. And I think that because this isn't talked about a ton, a lot of people get into the field and then they burn out quite quickly because they're being underpaid for doing something that is extremely emotionally taxing as a therapist. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this and then give you some ideas other than just seeking supervision that could help you as a therapist to stay grounded, not burn out, and not take your clients' problems home with you. So if that sounds of interest to you, I hope that you stick around. Hi, my name is Alyssa Powers, and I created this YouTube channel to teach you the things that grad school didn't so you can thrive as a mental health practitioner. Now, getting right into it, I think that hearing traumatic and disturbing things is extremely hard just because we as therapists are extremely empathetic. And of course, a lot of us come to care very deeply for our clients, but we cannot just break down and be crying and bawling and taking our clients' problems home with us because we have to have some sort of emotional boundaries to do the job that we do. And I'm not saying that I've never teared up with a client. I absolutely have teared up, but there's a difference, I guess, between having a huge emotional reaction that would take away from your own client and having true empathy. So these are the things that you ruminate about, that are hard for you to hear, that are upsetting in nature, that kind of make your stomach turn. I know for me, hearing graphic childhood sexual abuse is really disturbing to me, especially now having my son, and also hearing medical traumas that have happened to clients. I've had clients really describe in detail things that have happened to them with different medical procedures, and I'm very sensitive to that for myself. So I've actually had a couple times where I've almost felt like passing out. And that's a whole other thing that needed to be handled with my supervisor. But if you're watching this, then you're probably a therapist or you're thinking about becoming a therapist. And I think one of the biggest things that people worry about is can I handle this job? Because most of us who sought out this career are deeply feeling, highly sensitive people. And that is our strength and our superpower. But the double-edged sword to that is that we are deeply feeling and things can really, really upset us. So you might notice that you have certain stories that clients have told you that you ruminate on, that bring up triggers for you that are really similar maybe to your own story or things that have happened to you, even though sometimes it might be completely unrelated. Some things are just horrible to hear and it's very, very hard. So I wanted to give you a little list of things that could help other than seeking supervision, because If you're a therapist, you know that's what everyone's gonna say. They're gonna say, talk to your supervisor about it, process it with them, talk about it in group supervision. But unfortunately, not all of us have good relationships with our supervisors or feel comfortable sharing the full depth of our emotions. We might feel judged, or we might feel like, okay, well, they're gonna think I can't do my job. I just want to be understanding that not everyone's in a great work situation in the first place. So, a couple of ideas for when you hear these traumatic things from a client. The first thing I would recommend is grounding yourself wherever you are. I'm assuming you're probably sitting down in the chair that you do therapy in, planting your feet firmly on the ground, putting your arms on the arms of the chair, and just grounding down into your body and focusing on your breathing is a great place to start, because I know when you hear something traumatic, it can almost turn your brain into fight or flight mode, and you can start to get that labored breathing, start to feel really anxious. And it's good to just, okay, you can sit with this. You are not in danger. You are calm. You are here to bear witness to someone's pain. It's a beautiful healing thing, and you're okay. You are safe. So grounding, whatever that looks like for you, I would really recommend getting good at that. I know grounding is something I will just do even if I've had a really long day. Maybe I'm on like my 4th or 5th client, and I'm starting to zone out and think like, I need to get this on the way home. I need to have this for dinner. And I really, really, truly do try to be completely present with my clients. And so I will do a grounding technique in that instance as well, to be like, okay, what I have control over is my present moment, and I'm going to be fully present with my client. So, first technique would be a grounding ritual. The next thing that I would recommend, really, I think this is a lovely thing for anyone who works in a helping profession, but having some sort of closing ritual for your office. Or if you work from home, even like your desk setup, I think it can be nice to have something you do that symbolizes to you like, okay, I'm done for the day and I'm turning it off and I'm leaving it here. So I know I had a coworker who, when he would turn the sign on his door to like close, because we all had little signs so we knew who was working that day on our door that said in session, do not disturb. When he turned that around, he would like have a moment where he would put his hand on it and symbolize to himself like, I'm leaving everything at the door and I will pick it back up tomorrow. Something as simple as that can be so powerful. I know I really like to listen to meditations. I actually have a meditation that I made on this channel. I don't know that the audio was the best, and it is like my least viewed video, so I can link it if you're interested, like a ending the workday kind of meditation. But I think just anything that's like a relaxing meditation could be wonderful. Having a driving home ritual where you like, I know I had another coworker that when they hit a certain like point on the highway, they were like done letting themselves think about work. They would have time to process it, and then they'd turn it to like, okay, now I'm listening to upbeat music. Now I'm transferring into house, like, you know, domestic life again with family and stuff. So that is another idea. I think that could look however you need it to. Maybe you're someone that really needs your whole drive home to like think about this, and maybe you do a little steering wheel thing where you leave it in the car with you and you pick it up the next day. It could look however you need it to, but I really think that that can be so, so powerful. And then next, having friends that are therapists as well can be so wonderful and just supportive in a different kind of way. Not saying that you would talk about specific clients with your friends, but just having other people who are going through the same thing as you that you can rely on and trust and support each other is wonderful. And I know so many therapists in private practice feel very isolated and alone. If you work at a group practice or an agency, then you probably have coworkers that you are friends with and you're set in that regard, but it can be nice to really find support in each other and be able to commiserate without it becoming too negative about how hard this job can truly be. And then the last thing should go without saying, but being in your own therapy should be a no-brainer. I think especially if you are triggered by specific topics that get brought up in sessions, I would recommend working through that trigger with your own therapist. It might be something that you never feel fully comfortable with, but I know I view going to therapy as just like a self-care thing. I love my therapist. I love being able to talk about my work with someone who actually understands. And it's not that I'm using her as a supervisor. I really don't go into much detail about my own clients with her, but it's a unique job because I think most people, when they have a hard day at work, they come home to their roommates, their spouse, their partner, a friend, and they are able to unload that and kind of share all the details. But because of how confidentiality works and that we can't just go home and say like, I had a client who said this and it was so upsetting to me, it's a lot to carry. And I will say, like, of course you can say vague things. It's not like we have to pretend everything's okay. I would totally tell my husband, like, I had a really heavy session today and I'm really impacted by it, and that's why I'm a little off. But not being able to go into details is so unique to our field. And of course we want to uphold confidentiality and be that safe person for our clients. But I really do think being in your own therapy can be a great thing. And then the last thing that I actually just thought of, I think having some sort of like container meditation, which again, I'm sure I already linked it, but linking that video, I think that's the kind of meditation that my video is on my channel to kind of process a hard work day. But like, if you've done EMDR or you're familiar, you have a container that's like a safe place that you can come back to if you get flooded. I love that idea because I think we really need that too as therapists, because we are just really like bearing other people's burdens in the most beautiful and healing way that we can. So I hope that you found this helpful. I hope I'm not scaring anyone away from the field, but I think that it's worth talking about. I have never seen another video about this. I haven't really seen too many therapists talking about this topic. And of course, we all have different clientele and different topics that come up a lot. I will say, like, I don't work with a ton of clients anymore that have really extreme traumas. So that has really lessened in my own life as time has gone on, and I have a smaller caseload and I'm working with more like everyday concerns that people have instead of like doing deep trauma work. But some people, all they do is trauma, or all they do is work with women who are survivors of domestic abuse, or like, you know, there's just so many niche things in this world. So know that if you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you so much. I would love it if you would subscribe. It helps my channel so much. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.